Entitled mom demanded I give her my lottery prize. She got a cruel surprise instead. My heart nearly stopped the day I realized I'd won the lottery. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. You see, my mom has always been entitled, always acting like she deserves everything I have. When I actually had a life-changing lottery prize in my hands, she saw dollar signs instead of my happiness. And what she got instead of that money was a surprise she'll never forget. For as long as I can remember, my mom acted like life owed her. She raised me mostly on her own after Dad died, and I admit, as a kid, I looked up to her. But around my teenage years, I started to see another side of her. She was always complaining about how little I appreciated her sacrifices. If I bought a new phone, she'd snap, "With what money? Don't forget whose hard work paid for that." If I came home late from hanging out with friends, she'd complain about the electricity bill or groceries. Nothing was ever enough to keep her off my case. I left for college pretty early and took odd jobs to pay my way. After school, I worked as a barista and did freelance graphic design. I was getting by, building a life without much help from Mom. She'd helped me in the past. She paid my tuition through most of college, but she never stopped reminding me of every single cent. She'd point out the new shoes she bought for me in high school like trophies, expecting me to repay her in gratitude forever. It became one of those unwritten things between us. She would give me a little, and then somehow take it all back with guilt trips. Still, I couldn't help but feel a little guilty when I decided to start playing the lottery. I didn't do it often, just an occasional scratcher or one of those state lottery draws, hoping for some extra spending money or maybe a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. Honestly, I mostly played for fun. After work one Friday night, my best friend Kevin dragged me to a gas station to buy drinks for a barbecue. I told him I had some cash, but he insisted I treat us. As I was waiting to pay, my eyes caught a sign advertising the big lottery jackpot that week. For kicks, I grabbed a single $5 scratch card at the counter, along with the sodas. No big deal, right? Back at home that night, I headed to my room to unwind. I turned on the TV, poured myself a soda, and slowly scratched off the numbers. I wasn't paying much attention at first, just doing it while I watched the game on TV. Suddenly, I looked down at the ticket again. My heart was thumping. Could it be? I kept uncovering numbers, and all of them matched. My eyes burned as I stared at the ticket in disbelief. I read the winning numbers out loud to the TV announcer just to double-check. They were exactly the same. "Holy shit," I whispered to myself. "I actually won." My hands were shaking so badly I could hardly hold the ticket. I double-checked again and again, and finally, my brain caught up to the rest of my body. I had won $50,000. It wasn't the $1,000,000 jackpot of the commercials, but it was more money than I'd ever held in my bank account at once. A cold rush of excitement and fear cascaded through me. I did a little celebratory fist pump in the air and grinned at the TV. This was incredible. I called Kevin, my best friend, immediately. "Dude, guess what?" I said excitedly when he answered on speakerphone. I nearly shouted, "I won $50,000! He went silent for a split second, then whooped so loudly that my mom came out of her bedroom to check on me. I quickly said goodbye to Kev and hung up, my palms still sweaty from the adrenaline. As I took a deep breath, I glanced toward my mom's closed bedroom door, feeling that old, familiar pang. Mom had been home the whole day, probably nursing a cup of coffee in her room, talking to her friend on the phone about my non-existent problems. It hit me like a wave. I hadn't told her a thing about winning yet. A little voice in the back of my head reminded me how she would react if she knew. My mom, for all her sacrifices, had a nasty habit of turning any windfall into a personal windfall for herself. When I worked part-time during college, she always found ways to guilt-trip me into sharing with her. She would love to tell people, "I raised that boy alone." And suddenly, I was owing her half of everything, even if she had scraped by. I wasn't about to let that happen now. I got dressed and decided to run the claim ticket through the lottery machine the next morning at the local lottery office. First thing Saturday, I collected the ticket, went to the office, and waited nervously. They had me log the ticket, ask a bunch of questions, and finally, I got it. An official slip of confirmation for $50,000. Then I walked out lighter than air, slipping the slip into my wallet. I gave myself a high five in the car and thought, this is actually real. I was relieved that it felt legitimate. I had covered myself by keeping it quiet, but I knew Mom would smell something was up. Late Saturday afternoon, I drove to pick up a celebratory pizza. With my purchase, I casually swiped the official lottery slip on the counter while the clerk rang it up. He noticed and nodded. "Congrats, buddy," which made me almost drop the money and pizza box. On my way home, I realized I really had to figure out what to do about telling Mom. I mean, of course I wanted to share the news with my family eventually, but my mom's reaction was going to be the trickiest part. She could call me up the second she suspected anything. For years I'd been careful, avoiding showing off any signs of wealth, because she immediately expected me to share. But now it was undeniable. I tried to keep my newfound joy under wraps all Saturday night. We had dinner together, and I made sure to get home before her. We actually sat together and I helped her chop vegetables for soup. I just acted like nothing had changed, but inside I was bursting. Sunday morning, I walked into the kitchen, coffee in hand, and found Mom already there pouring hers. She looked at me with those expectant eyes. "How'd your day go yesterday, sweetheart?" she asked, sounding a little too cheerful. "Pretty good." "Grabbed a pizza," I shrugged, trying to sound casual. "How about you?" "Oh, just the usual. I spent the afternoon cleaning the attic. Someone should sell that junk," she sighed. "Do you really keep everything?" I smiled awkwardly and changed the subject, starting a conversation about a movie. She seemed to sense something, but I kept it light. Yet every so often I caught her giving me a strange look, like she was putting pieces of a puzzle together. By Monday, I knew she had to have noticed something. She and I rarely spent an entire weekend in each other's presence unless something was up. I was walking into work when my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Hey, you're walking on sunshine lately. What's up?" I froze. My heart pounded. I didn't know what to tell her. Could she be onto me? I texted back quickly, trying to stall. Life's treating me well." Ha. But she called immediately after, the ringtone sending my anxiety through the roof. "Hi, Mom. What's up?" I answered, trying to keep my voice steady. She was quiet on the other end for a moment. "You know, hun, being a mom, I just know when something's off." "You're acting really weird lately," she said slowly, more playful than accusatory. "Mom, I'm just happy is all," I answered truthfully, thinking if I expressed just a little excitement she might go away. "Work's good? I don't know." She hummed, clearly not buying it. "So no news? All good?" My heart started to race. Did I sound too guilty? Couldn't she just drop it? "Yeah, why?" I tried to sound nonchalant. "No reason," she said. Then, with that sly tone that made me shiver, "You know you should share when good things happen, right? Especially with your own family." My breath caught. She was practically asking, demanding. I nearly choked on air. "What do you mean, Mom?" I managed to ask. "I mean, we raised you, didn't we?" "Sometimes you're so lucky. You should remember that," she said softly, so sweetly that I almost felt bad. But I quickly remembered every time she pouted for a cent of my paycheck. "Just saying, honey." I could hear her hanging up. My hands shook slightly. I leaned against the car. She knows something, and she already wanted a cut. I had to think fast. The only thing I was sure of was that I did not want her to touch any of my winnings. This money had to go towards my future. Maybe paying off student loans, maybe taking a trip, maybe saving for a house. But my mom, who had told me just days ago to get a real job so I could finally contribute to this house, was suddenly acting like the lottery was meant for her. That morning, I texted Kevin at work. "We have a situation." He called me during his break. As soon as I told him, he practically yelled, "No way! You have to hide that from her at all costs. She can't find out." I know, Kev. I know. She's already acting weird, I said, pacing in the parking lot. I need a plan, man. What do I do if she comes here and digs into my business? Kevin laughed sharply. Oh, man. Maybe rig a mom owes me contract so she can't get the cash, or tell her you gave it to charity and pretend it's final. That idea gave me the first genuine laugh all day. Charity, huh? Can you imagine her face? He said, Listen, I'm serious. She deserves a lesson at least. If she's pushing this hard, maybe turn it around. But for real, be careful. She might freak out if she thinks I'm joking. All right. Calm down, I chuckled. It was good to vent to him. I'll figure something out. We hung up, and I ducked back into the store for a bottle of water. My mind spun, turn it around. Was my friend onto something? Could I actually flip this on her? She could be a real jerk about me winning if I wasn't careful. Tuesday morning, something changed in the air. My phone rang early with an unknown number, but I grabbed it. The lottery clerk I spoke to on Saturday was on the line. Hello, this is Frankie from the lottery office, he said. We have a minor problem with your prize claim. My stomach dropped. What? Problem? I did everything right. Nothing serious, he continued, oblivious to my panic. Just need a quick verification. Can you come by with an ID? Something about your paperwork was missing a signature. My heart raced. Was this real? It sounded like an official voicemail, maybe a scam, but I wouldn't risk it. I hung up and called Kevin back. Do you think that call was legit? It says something about paperwork and signatures, I asked, worried. I don't know, dude, he replied, calm. If it's real, maybe go by. If it's not, just see what happens. It might buy you time from your mom. I sighed. There were upsides and downsides. If I went to verify it, Mom might get suspicious if she sees me come back. But it would keep me busy, and maybe she'll cool off. I told Mom I had to run some errands downtown. She nodded offhandedly. On the drive, I felt like a cat on hot bricks. Parked, I double-checked the address and stepped into the lottery office. Inside, a petite older woman at the counter greeted me. It was just as Frankie said, a formality. Nothing on paper, but they needed my ID and maybe a signature. I filled out the minor stuff they claimed they missed. The lady was friendly. Congratulations again, dear, she said. Make sure you think about taxes and stuff. Taxes? That reminded me. I'd need to set aside money. I smiled stiffly and agreed. After all that, I left with no new real information, just a hand-signed form. But I felt accomplished. Paperwork was done. Now, when I got home, I'd have to face the music. As soon as I walked in the door of the house, I could tell something was off. Mom was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea, one leg tucked under her on the chair. She had that look, half exasperated, half clinging to patience, I knew all too well. There you are, she said, without looking up from a magazine she was pretending to read. What took so long, hun? Just had to sort out some verification at the lottery office, I said casually, unloading my bag. The slip of paper was inside. They needed an extra signature. Mom raised an eyebrow and closed her magazine. The lottery office? Yeah, I shrugged. I won, remember? They needed me to come in. She let out a short laugh. Oh yeah, that. Must be nice to be needed. There was no venom in her voice, but the eyes gave me away. I fiddled with the strap of my bag. Then she sighed. Can I say something? I feel weird even asking this, but it's been on my mind all weekend. I braced myself. Mom looked up finally, locking eyes with me. You should share your winnings with me, now that you have them. The words dripped out calmly, but I swear it felt like sharp scissors cutting through me. I'm sorry, what? I blurted, sure I must have misheard her. She sat up straighter. You heard me. You owe me a part of that money. After all I've done for you, you shouldn't be stingy now. I had you, raised you. We're family. Pain and anger bubbled up inside me at her calm entitlement. Part of me just felt disbelief. "You're asking me to give you my lottery prize?" I asked slowly, voice rising because my blood was boiling. Mom didn't waver. She held my gaze, unblinkingly. "Yes, I'm asking for what's fair. You know how much I sacrificed for you. School, clothes, the roof over your head when your father got sick. You were my whole world. And now that you have money, I deserve something for all those years." All the old threads of resentment tightened in my chest. Years and years of sacrifice? Maybe. But if that was the case, why was I buying us groceries with my part-time money in college, carrying bags with her, while she parked her butt on the couch watching soap operas? I felt my jaw clench. I had to gather myself before words flew out. "Mom," I managed softly, "what I won is not yours. I know you raised me, and I appreciate it, but I worked for this chance. It's my money." She laughed. "If it's yours, you'll do whatever you want with it," she said, as if it were obvious. "I do know that," I bit out, "but right now, I want to keep it for myself, or use it for future plans. I can't just hand that money over to you." Her eyebrows flew up. "Oh, so now you're keeping secrets? You haven't even told me all the details. I had the right to know when you won big." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Because I didn't trust what might happen if I told you immediately. I needed to figure things out first. "Look, Mom, I love you, but this money has to go to my life, paying off loans, saving for a house." She scoffed. "And doing what? So you'll move out and never look back?" "That's not fair," I said. She crossed her arms, her voice folding into guilt-tripping. "You want to be independent? Act like you forgot where you come from. Fine. But you're not beyond helping your own mother." Her eyes flashed, voice cracking. Anger flared. I felt tears prick but forced them back. "I had every intention of talking to you at the right time. I just needed a moment. Asking for my winnings, that's crossing a line." She slammed her palm on the table. I flinched. "You will share it." Now her tone dropped, urgent, intimidating. My knee gave a slight wobble. "No," I said. "No?" "Yes, no," I added. She stared, then the wine glass hit the counter so hard the table shuddered. "You! Unthankful child," she screamed, tears, part fury, part hurt. "After everything? How could you be such a monster?" The words scorched me. I felt the sting of tears I refused to let out. "I'm not a monster," I said. "Just someone who wants to use my own money as I please." She sneered. "Now I'm the monster." "Fine. If you're so selfish, keep your precious money." Storming out, she spat. "I hope that money buys you a lonely life." I stood trembling, adrenaline loud in my veins. I had stood up to her. A small voice gnawed. Maybe I had been too cold. But deep down, I knew revealing everything would have ended the same. She came back later with a cool scowl, then left for a drive. Over the next 2 days, I focused on work, paperwork, taxes, and a lawyer friend confirming the check was mine. The money would be mine, legally. Between calls with Kevin and planning, a wild, petty idea bloomed. What if I pretended to share it, only to reveal it was fake? Richard at the print shop loved pranks. He could make a convincing fake check. The thought made my pulse quicken, vindictive, tempting, and satisfying. At lunch, I texted Richard. "Need a printing favor." He came by my house as soon as I got off. "All right, spill," Richard demanded, hooded glasses perched on his nose. "What's so urgent you texted in caps?" I explained the situation quickly. He shook his head in half amusement, half concern. "Wow, your mom sucks," he commented. "This is basically petty revenge." "I know, right?" I said, partly joking, partly serious. "But I'm serious about doing this. Can you help me print something? It has to be convincing." He cracked a grin. "Yeah, I can do that. I have the templates for a check. Just give me the name and amount." I rummaged around and found the branded blank lottery slip and a sample of a check from my wallet. They'd be enough to match formatting. As I scribbled what needed to be filled, I hesitated. I decided to do $50,000 exactly, making it look like half her share, $25,000, would be his portion if they split. Maybe too obvious, though. Instead, I decided to do the full $50,000 as if I gave it all. The shock would be bigger. Just don't do anything illegal, Richard cautioned. He definitely gave me a real look of warning, which made me laugh. It's just a prank, dude. She'll figure it out or take it back as soon as she realizes. I'm not forging anything real. He had me sign a paper that said, "Return to sender," which was basically him saying, if anything happens, it's all on me. We ended up printing out a couple of things on high-quality paper. A lottery check with the official logos, and a separate letter formatted like it was from our local lottery office, with official-looking headings. The letter said something like, "Congratulations. This letter is to accompany your lottery prize share. Please deposit or endorse the enclosed prize bond." It gave the impression that it was an official share payment. We put the fake check and letter in a crisp white envelope addressed to Mom, marked "Confidential," and had lottery office stamps on it. If I was going to do this, I had to make it look 100% real. The hardest part was waiting until I could actually execute the plan. That night, Mom came home dragging her feet. She hadn't talked to me or acknowledged my presence since that fight. I could tell she was still steamed, but something had changed. She no longer looked at me with contempt. She looked hurt. I felt a pang of guilt walking past her, but I steeled myself and did what I thought was best. I calmly called her to the kitchen. "Mom," I said, deliberately slow. "I was thinking more about what happened. I think I owe you something." Her eyes lit up cautiously, confused. I held out the envelope. Her eyebrows shot up. "This is a letter from the lottery office?" she asked, picking it up. "Yes," I nodded. "About your share. It's your prize to claim, Mom." I tried to sound gracious. Inside, I felt giddy and terrified. She carefully opened the envelope, pulled out the letter and check, and gasped. "50,000?" she whispered. "You gave me everything?" I smiled faintly. "You said I was selfish. This is my apology." Her tears flowed as she clutched the check, thanking me over and over. I forced a grin, playing along. She promised no more fights, and I told her to deposit it in the morning. That night, I tossed in bed, wondering if I'd gone too far. But morning brought the answer. Mom returned from the bank, shoulders slumped, eyes wide. "They didn't recognize it," she murmured, holding out the check. Soon after, the bank called me directly. A stern voice accused me of presenting a counterfeit check. My stomach twisted. They linked it back to me. When I hung up, Mom's face told me everything. "It's fake?" she whispered. Tears turned to fury. "I trusted you. How could you do this?" She ripped the check in half, sobbing harder. "Ungrateful brat!" she screamed before storming out. I collapsed into a chair, chest heaving. I'd won. She couldn't demand money anymore. Yet the victory felt hollow. Was it justice or just cruelty? I wasn't sure. All I knew was the guilt burned almost as hot as her betrayal once had. I looked down at the ripped check pieces on the kitchen floor. It felt like a war casualty. Sitting back, I knew there was no immediate confrontation to have now. Mom was outside, flustered and furious. She wasn't coming back in. Maybe she needed air. I tried calling her, but she wouldn't answer. Late into the night, I paced. Kevin texted, "So, did the evil plan work?" I almost didn't know what to text back. She's gone ballistic. She's not speaking to me. But I finally messaged, "It happened." She freaked. In a hushed tone over the phone, I told him everything again, how she yelled, "I hope you're happy now," or something along those lines. Kevin commented, "Yikes, that's intense. But at least she finally realized you're serious." I realized it too. She realized he meant it, but also that he was quite mean about it. Well, at least I still have my job, I said, forcing a laugh. And none of my debt. I guess that's something. She's your mom, dude, Kevin said softly. Don't feel too bad, but maybe call her tomorrow and see how she is. Apologize for the trick, even if she deserved the lesson. You're going to have to live with her. I was quiet for a moment. I had never lied to her like that, not even about anything big. I did kind of feel ashamed. Yeah, I should, I said. Thanks, Kev. We ended the call. I sat at the kitchen table, turned off the TV, and just stared at the torn check pieces. At some point, I realized it was almost midnight. I had promised to meet the lottery office tomorrow to sign some final paperwork anyway. At least something was done. I still had $50,000 of my name on hand. Tomorrow, I'd deposit it with the bank. Maybe I'd use some of it to make our house better, and maybe hide some away, too. I didn't have a clear plan yet, but I did know I had to think carefully. That night, I barely slept. Every time I drifted off, I imagined my mom's angry face and then her teary one. I felt conflicted, satisfied that I had defended myself, but horrible for hurting her pride. Morning came. I resolved to do one more thing. Call Mom. It was before she could leave the house, if she had left at all, because what if she was physically gone or something terrible? Mom, I said shyly when she picked up. It's me. I'm sorry about what I did to you. That check thing. I shouldn't have, even if I felt wronged. I just wanted you to see. She didn't say anything for a second. Her voice was flat when she finally spoke. Go away. I winced, but did not push. Okay, I said quietly. I'll give you some space. I just know I didn't mean to break your heart. I just felt cornered and did something dumb. I love you, Mom. I hung up without waiting for a response. It wasn't exactly an apology, but it was an attempt. She probably needed more time. I got in my car and drove to the bank. The sun was rising. On the drive, everything felt surreal. Just a few days ago, I was excited about winning money, and now I was feeling like life was bitter. But the one thing I was sure of was that I absolutely still needed that prize money. At the bank, I filled out the deposit slip carefully. My arm shook, and I resisted tears. Did I cry? Maybe just a tear, quickly wiped. The teller looked at me sympathetically when I handed over the slip and signed it. There you go, I said softly. I deposited $50,000. My hand trembled so badly that I nearly couldn't sign on the dotted line. The teller looked at the slip, then up at me. 50,000, he repeated for verification. I nodded. As he swiped my card, he murmured, That's a big deposit. I offered a weak smile. At that moment, I didn't care. This money would change my life. I needed it. In the afternoon, I called my friend Sarah. She's not in the story earlier, but I mentioned for closure, maybe. Actually, no. Maybe skip Sarah since there's no clue of friend named. Focus on story. Instead, I took a deep breath and settled my mind. I'd pay off loans, get a small place of my own, a sensible car. Maybe I even offered to help Dad's memorial or a safe thing. And for Mom, something safe. Honestly, I debated just writing her off. But she was still my mom. A week later, Mom came back. The front door opened, and she stood there with puffy eyes. I was at the table with paperwork. We stared at each other, and I saw exhaustion, maybe shame, behind her eyes. She sat across from me. I've thought about what I did, she said softly. I acted awfully. The money is yours. I shouldn't have demanded it. I was selfish. I'm sorry. My chest tightened. I had expected her to apologize, but hearing it made me uneasy. She admitted she got greedy, her tears falling as she confessed, I don't want money. I want my son back. If my demand cost me that, I'm the biggest idiot on earth. Please forgive me. I felt guilt replace rage. I was mad, I admitted, and I'm sorry I did that stupid check prank. That was harsh. I should have just kept quiet until I was ready. She snorted a laugh. I deserved it. For the first time, we talked openly. She admitted her fears of being left behind, of always being poor. I explained how I worked for everything and felt guilt-tripped. She looked tired, but nodded. We agreed. No more money talk. I'd focus on using my winnings wisely. Weeks later, I gave her a small gift, a massage chair she'd always wanted. When she unwrapped it, tears of gratitude filled her eyes. "I'm proud of you, son," she said. That moment healed more than any check could. We rebuilt trust slowly, step by step. She never asked me for money again, just appreciated being part of my life. And I realized I loved her more than I admitted. The lottery money paid debts and gave me freedom, but the bigger win was this. Mom finally saw me as her son, not her wallet.